senpai, please notice me. I watch Asian cartoons, I'm a weeaboo. I live in my mom's house, I'm like 32. I collect swords and throwing stars, yes, I'm a weeaboo. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but I will always be one step ahead of you. 'Cause I read the manga.
You're such a fucking pleb. Are you even Japanese, bro?
I haven't showered in like 16 weeks. All my friends and peers are ashamed of me. 'Cause all of a sudden, I think I'm Japanese. Yes, I'm a weeaboo. Yes, I'm a weeaboo. Yes, I'm a weeaboo. Yes, I'm a weeaboo. A filthy weeaboo.
Naruto's so
A
overrated.
dirty weeaboo.
You wanna see my katana collection?
A fucking weeaboo.
I'm learning Japanese on Rosetta
A
Stone,
disgusting weeaboo.
so I'm like basically Japanese now.
I live at my computer desk and argue with teenagers on the internet about atheism and how Japan is superior to other countries.
What's up? Oh man. Oh, Celeste, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, what's up?
Not much. How's it going?
It's going good. Oh man, I'm excited.
Me too. I got my analysis all right here.
Analysis?
Yeah.
Dude. Oh man, I'm excited. First off, did you enjoy it?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. The first 2 episodes, I was like, what is this?
I feel you on that one.
The first 2 episodes, I was like, what is this? I don't like I get the premise it was going for, but at the same time, it was, I don't know, like even though there's so much going on, like at once,
Yeah.
and so I was trying to figure out like, okay, I get that she's a transfer student, I get these are the main characters, like I get that, but at the same time, it just took me a while till I get sucked into it. And then the first 2 episodes, I was like literally like, oh man, is this gonna be a drag or what?
So you actually
But then,
had to use the 5-episode rule.
yeah, I literally had to use the 5-episode rule on this one. And so once I got to the third one, that's when it sucked me in. And I was
Yeah,
like,
that's when it,
oh,
like,
okay.
clicked, huh?
Yeah, the third episode, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I like this. Because if it wasn't for the whole, we're going to do the 5 episodes thing, I literally would have dropped it right there.
Oh, same. When I first watched it, I had no intention of keeping up with it. But the friend who recommended it to me just kept on and kept on and kept on. So, to anyone who doesn't know, we did like an episode 0 of this podcast before, just after one of my streams. And we thought, hey, why don't we actually do this? And we said, well, what would be the first thing that we would watch? And we were like, oh, ghost stories, oh, this, oh, that. And then I was like, dude, Survival Games Club. And it was just like instant, like I have to get her to watch this. Oh man.
And I watched it, and it was weird. Because like at first, I was thinking, you know what it reminded me of?
What?
Daily Lives of High School Boys, but with
Yes.
guns.
Yes,
But with
exactly. That is such a good way to describe it. It's daily life of high school girls with guns.
Yeah, with guns. That's what it is.
I don't even think there's been like, aside from like the gun store owner, I don't think there was a male character seen in the show yet.
There is.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, in episode 4, when they go to the arcade.
Right. Okay. Wait, well, let's wait to get to that.
That was my episode.
Oh yeah, that's why I don't remember right now. I didn't have a focus on that one. So I guess I can jump into like the episode 1 synopsis.
Uh-huh.
right? Just so people understand a little bit of what the show's about. So basically, in episode 1, you get introduced to Momoka, and we're explained to her about her from the narrator that she's just a normal girl. She transferred to a new school. Apparently, she transfers around a lot, and
Mhm.
she's on the train. It's kind of crowded. She's standing there, and this old dude starts like perving on her.
Like like right away.
Yeah, and it has the the generic like, oh, am I about to be molested, like that you see in a lot of anime of like the teenage girl not knowing what to do. But then in a twist, um, we have Otori Miyu come out, who is on the screen right now with a Gatling gun, and she whips out 2 desert eagles and threatens the man's life. And it's like this whole thing, and people are like scared to be next to her because they think that the guns are real, and us as viewers think the guns are real too. It hasn't been explained that they're not yet. Uh,
Mhm.
and then like cops come, and you're under the impression, okay, they're gonna take the pervert away. Nope, they take her away. And like Momoka's just kind of stuck. Like, what the hell was that? So she goes to school. She meets her new classmates and all that. Like they like the new girl, whatever. She starts making friends, and then she's going through the hall and she sees Mio again. So she tries to follow her because she's like, that's that weird girl from earlier with the 2 guns. Which I understand that. And she's following her, but instead of catching her, she gets caught in a trap laid by Mio. And she's knocked out. She wakes up in basically a military bunker that's
Mhm.
occupied by Mio and a bunch of other girls, and they all have guns and other weapons just surrounding them, like they're cleaning out the barrels of like pistols and stuff. And that's where she learns that the weapons are fake, and we learn it too at that moment. And that instead of being psychopath terrorists, they're just a group of girls in a club at school that do survival games. And they try to get her to join. She refuses. And do you remember Mio starts to get her to sign? Like she's like, "Here, let me
Oh
see how
yeah,
neat your writing is." And it's
yeah.
like
No, no,
application.
no, she's like, how do you spell your name?
Yeah, yeah. How do you spell your name?
How do you,
And it's the
and no,
application to join the
yeah.
club. And like obviously that doesn't work because the teacher's like, no, she has to turn it in herself. You can't turn it in for her. So the next day, Moeka wakes up. She goes to school, and on her way, she bumps into Mio again, who starts begging her to join. She
Mhm.
doesn't want anything to do with her. She starts avoiding her. She's like trash talking her. Apparently, Mio is like the super popular, everyone loves her girl, where
Yep.
like the girls are all like in love with. So
Mhm.
being that Mio is approaching Momoka, the girls are jealous in the school. So the friends that she made are now enemies, and they start like bullying her.
Mhm.
And for a moment, like I remember when I first watched it, I thought, "Oh, this is gonna get dark. This is gonna be like a silent voice, where,
Yeah.
where like they're writing on the desk, 'I hate you' and all this. Like,
They're throwing her stuff out the window.
yeah, yeah, and like putting tacks in her shoes and stuff.
Mhm.
And what was it like? They messed up her food, like her melon bread, and that was like the breaking point where she's like
Yeah.
on her knees, like it looks like she's about to cry, but what was really gonna happen was she was probably gonna commit murder.
Mhm.
Uh, and then Mio freaking jumps from the roof, says, "This is repelling, whatever you want to call it." The narrator is like, "No, that's bungee jumping." And then she can't get down because she's trapped by her ankles, so she's just there like bouncing. Basically, she quote unquote saves Momoka, tells the girls
Mhm.
to leave her alone. But Momoka doesn't want to leave it there, and she gets instant revenge on the girls
Yep.
because Momoka's a sadist. She basically
Oh
does.
yeah, yeah. The girls wanted to apologize to
Yeah,
her, but she's like, no, don't apologize to me because then I'm gonna feel bad by getting
yeah,
revenge.
exactly. And she's basically like, "No, fuck that. I want revenge," and basically
Yeah,
does everything that they did to her in like 0.5 seconds.
yeah.
Uh, but then that's like part one of the episode, and then part two, um, we get Wait, no.
Oh, then Mio gives her
The bread,
food,
right?
her food.
Yeah,
She
and
gives her
and it's
food. Yeah.
roofie bread.
Yeah.
It like poisons her and knocks her out, and she takes her to the like the teacher's office and it's like, oh, I want to submit this paperwork while
Uh,
Mio's wearing like the
Mind
black
you,
shroud.
black. She's like wearing like a full on black outfit
Yeah,
to make it seem like she's not there,
exactly.
controlling
And
her.
just like muppeting her. And I guess the teacher just accepts that, and I guess Momoko is either too lazy or cannot rescind her application.
Hmm.
But that's the end of the first episode, or the
Yeah.
first part of the first episode. And then it goes to the next day, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have a club meeting," and Momoko's like waiting in, I guess the town that they're close to, and that's where we get like the intro of all the club members,
Hmm.
except Mio, because we already know her. So I'm gonna give a breakdown of each girl. So first up, in the order that we did meet them in show, was Maya Kyota, and she was described as a second year who's also a part time model. And we learned that her gun preference is the M4A1 carbine.
Hmm.
Then we got Urara Kasugano, and I cannot speak these fucking Japanese names.
No, and it's fun. And a funny thing, I thought I wouldn't like Aurora,
Uh huh.
but she turned out to be my favorite
Yeah.
character.
Like outside of Momoka, I love Urara.
Yeah,
Um,
she's my fave.
but she's described as a first year, and she's childhood friends with Mio, and she's basically a yandere about her. And
Hmm.
she uses two Glock 26Cs, and apparently a Glock 26C is just the model version of a Glock 26. And then finally, we meet Kayo, and I'm not even gonna try to say her last name, but she's also a first year, and she runs around in a homemade ghillie suit. And sometimes in the back of scenes of episodes that she's like not even included in, you see her there. Like in episode
Yeah.
one, when Momoka's in her classroom, you can see her in the back of the classroom in the full on ghillie suit, and she
Hmm.
uses two Mac 11s, and like
Yeah.
they all meet up and they go to the store to pick a weapon for Momoka because you can't be in the survival club without a weapon, and they have her pick it out. And they describe like, oh, you can't use this one. You're not 18 yet. You can't do this. Blah blah blah. And they decide, hey, let's test it out. Let's have a survival game. And she finds out that not only is she a great shot, but she actually really enjoys doing the survival games that they do. And she
Hmm.
ends up using Beretta 92 FS.
Bless. And that's the whole first episode.
Yeah, that's the whole first episode.
And then we come on episode 2, which is Sonakawa. I call for some reason I call her by her last name. I
That's
don't
fine.
call huh?
That's fine. That's how they do it in the show. So.
Yeah, so Sonakawa is in her room and she wakes up and then she ends up going downstairs
Uh-huh.
to her mom to eat breakfast. And then Mio is right there at the dinner table. And then she like freaks out, like, why is she here? And then I'm trying to remember. I remember. No, I don't know. Oh, so then she gets mad at her mom.
Uh-huh.
For some reason, I don't even remember why she gets mad at her mom.
For letting Mio in the house.
Well, Mio in the house. Oh, and then we find out her mom calls her Mokarin,
Yeah.
which is I
Mokari.
think is super cute.
Mokari.
No, and it's funny too because that reminds me of Gekken Shoujo no Ozaki-kun, Mokarin.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, but he oh no, he's known as Mikorin though.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of him. So then, as her and her mom are fighting, she Mio is like, we need to go practice. We have morning practice. And so then they go back to the clubhouse and then they meet the others. And Urara is super jealous of Mio and Sonokawa's relationship. So while they're doing like their morning stretches,
Uh-huh.
she goes overboard and so she'll like try to hurt her on purpose, and then she ends up being taken. No, she ends up like knocking her out or something, and then she throws her in the dumpster. Throws her in the dumpster, and then she goes back, and they're like, "Hey, like where is Sonokawa?" And she's like, "Oh, she disappeared." And then she was thinking that they would probably think like, "Oh, she doesn't want to be in the club no more."
Mhm.
But then Mio's like, "Oh no, she's hiding from us."
Oh, she's already good at this. Oh,
Yeah, she
she gets
like
the
she's
gist of
good.
it.
Yeah. And so then they're like, "Okay, let's go find her." So they end up trying to look for her, and Urara is disappointed because they have to go look for her, and she's upset because she, at this point, she like hates her, and she thinks that she's taking over her spot for Mio.
Uh huh.
And then as they're walking in the forest, Sonokawa, she's like hiding behind a bush, like wondering like what the heck is going on, like why. And then she overhears them looking for her, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Not sure. And then she's like, "Oh, I don't want to come out." And then she sees a praying mantis, and the narrator tells us at that point she has like a death fear of praying mantis, I think.
Yeah, just specifically praying mantis. Like she's fine with
Yeah, just
bugs.
yeah, she's fine with bugs, but she's scared of praying mantis for some reason. And so she freaks out. She starts shooting at the praying mantis. She ends up missing the praying mantis, but ends up shooting everybody else. And so this makes Mio think that she's like this tactician.
Yeah.
Like she
Oh,
like
it was a
gorilla.
surprise attack.
Yeah, it was a surprise. Like she did what is it? Guerrilla warfare. And it wasn't. And then and so then Urara gets sad, and she's like, "Oh, you only think of her. You don't think of me anymore." And and
Like I
she
said, she's
takes
like
off running.
yandere for her.
Yeah. So she ends up running away, and she's like on a hill crying, and then she's like, "They're probably not gonna come." And then so then she hears footsteps, and then she thinks to herself like, "Oh, they are coming." And then she looks up, and it's Sonokawa. And then Urara thinks to herself like, "Oh, Sonokawa cares for me. She's such a good person." No, Sonokawa was there to get revenge.
Yep.
And so she ends up doing what she did to her. And then for some reason, Urara likes it.
Cause she's a masochist.
Yeah. And so Urara like basically just dumped Mio and is now all over Sonokawa.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was part 1. And then part 2 was the modeling. What was her name again?
Who?
Uh
The model?
the model. Yeah.
The model's name was Maya.
So Maya. So then this part 2 is all about Maya. She got a deal with
Yeah, Nato.
Nato Nato, and I think they're beans.
Yeah, they're sticky beans.
And if me and Mayo have that in common, I hate beans. I hate beans so much. So this whole episode, I was cringing so hard. It's like I hate beans so much.
This just in, Celestia hates beans. Got it.
I hate beans. And so then
Care package incoming.
I'll burn it. I'll burn it. I'll send pictures of me burning it. Send it to you. Like, here's your care package.
Damn it.
And so she has to do she got a deal with Naoto Beans. Like I think it was it's commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And so they picked her because their beans supposedly like make girl skins like brighter,
Yeah, she's like a young model, so
yeah, yeah, get developed more. But she hates it. And so she asked Urara and Sonokawa to help her like train to eat it,
uh-huh.
so she can get this deal, or so she can at least do it. And then at first Sonokawa and Urara were like no, because they're jealous of her. They're like, we're not going to help you. And then Mio overhears and is like, no, we gotta help her. And so then while they're trying to help her out, they're telling her like, hey, like, we'll help you out, but you're gonna do it my way. And so Sonakawa is basically torturing her with the beans.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember. She makes her say "I love Naoto beans" while doing tasks.
Yeah.
So she's like, "I love Naoto beans" while she's running in Naoto beans,
Yeah.
or "I love Naoto beans," and she like throws her in a wheel. What is it?
It was like
not
a drum.
wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
It was like it was a wheelbarrow filled with Naoto beans, and so she ends up becoming like traumatized by it. And so then Sonakawa's like, oh, I feel bad, but then she looks at Mayo.
Maya.
She looks at her, Mayo. She looks at Mayo and she sees her skin's like more glowing and that she's developed more. And she's like, nah, never mind. I don't feel sorry no more.
Fuck her. Fuck her. She's too pretty.
Basically, yeah. And so what ends up happening that she's too shocked. Sonakawa ends up doing the commercial, but she's like dressed up like in the suit and she's miserable.
Yeah. But like
then,
the best part of that though was that they were trying to get her over her fear of not liking to eat the beans, and she never had to eat them. She just had to wear a suit. It was redundant. It was so stupid. It was unnecessary.
And so they just traumatized her more.
Yeah.
That's sad.
And like from those first 2 episodes, were there any scenes that like really stuck out to you?
That Sonoko wasn't actually an asshole. To be honest, I actually was not expecting, the main character to be the way she is.
Yeah, it's such a like such a way to like divert your expectations, right?
Yeah, like I was not expecting her to be as ruthless as she is.
Yeah.
Like I thought she was gonna be that typical transfer student, like, oh, I don't make that much friends, like I'm a loner and blah blah blah. No, like right away she's like, oh, I have to pay this new girl role like again.
Yeah.
And
like I said, she has a sadistic side to her. Like she got her revenge on those bullies, and remember when they had the first battle and she shoots Maya right in her big old honkadongaroos.
Oh yeah.
Like she just
she was
aims right for the
jealous.
nipples.
Because she's so jealous of him. Yeah.
And I love when they do the fight scenes that they show like the blood pouring out of them and like bullets are breaking glass, and then the narrator's like, hey, this isn't actually happening. This is in their imagination. Like we got to keep our rating.
Yeah.
And then like you explained in episode 2 when Urara runs away and she thinks Momoka's coming to like help her and like, oh, it's okay, they still love you, and she just beats the crap out of her.
Yeah.
Like it becomes an actual wrestling match, and that makes her fall in love with Momoka.
Yeah. Like I was not expecting that.
Absolutely not. And then I'm gonna upload it right now. The fabulous scene of when they start training Maya to withstand the Nato. Oh, I can't upload it. It's too big of a file. Oh man.
No.
She takes a Nato roll and just starts beating the shit out
her
of
with
her.
it. Yes.
Oh man, it was so good.
But this is why she's traumatized.
Wait, I'm gonna see if I can pull that file up myself and just display it.
戦場で甘いは命取り。どんな敵でも
But I
全
know
力でアタックしな
there's
くちゃ。
3 parts to each episode.
そうか。
Here we go.
教官、もっとお
Can
願
you
い
put
し
it
ま
up?
す。よーし、その息だ。
Beats the shit out of her.
Oh, let me see.
So good. Like first she's beating Urara, and it's like you have to be able to do this if you want to do this, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah.
And then it's just like, okay, I'll do it, and then she just turns around and starts beating the shit out of her, and then
Oh,
man.
poor.
And then like the president, Mio is just like staring. She's like, "You're smiling the whole time you're doing this."
I know. It's just you're enjoying this, and she is. She
to,
is.
to like summarize for anyone like still wondering what the show is, like the general vibe it gives off, it's called Survival Games Club. But then you have this and it's just Momoko going, I know what the title says, but don't go expecting real survival games.
Oh, and then Mio comes and she's like, "Shush!"
Yeah, she always like hushes her
Like, don't
in some
say
way.
that.
So when we had the whole situation in episode 1 of Mio trying to recruit her, I decided it'd be best to make this shitty little meme. And I am in no way a photo editor, but I love this so much.
Oh my god. I love it.
It fits so well.
It does.
Oh my god. And then you said it was episode 3 that like really got you, huh?
It was episode 3 that got me.
So episode 3 is that's when the world's most unlucky teacher is revealed to be in charge of the club, and she tasked the girls with getting rid of a hornet's nest that's like in the forest behind their school. And like they go and they do it. It's not a problem. Like they get all geared up like military style, and for some reason the teacher is wearing a bear suit
Yeah, she's wearing a bear suit,
because she thinks that they're honeybees.
but they're hornets.
Yeah, I just put up a picture of it. Like they're all decked out, and she's wearing just like a bear kigurumi, and like she keeps referencing them as bees.
As honeybees.
Yeah. So they do it, and they knock the hornet's nest out, and like they shoot bullets at the hornets, and they fly away, and they're like, okay, mission accomplished. Let's go back. But the teacher decides to grab the hornet's nest because she thinks there's honey inside. She's like, yummy. And the narrator explains to us that sometimes hornets stay in the nest even while the other ones are fighting. So like there can still be a whole bunch of them in there. And the teacher takes a knife and she splits it open, and hornets just come swarming out of it. And the girls are like,
Lo and
okay,
behold.
time to go. And they realize they're out of bullets. So then they're like, oh wait, fire. Let's use the insecticide we have and a lighter and burn
Oh,
them
and
away.
it's funny because like the teacher has the lighter, but how the teacher came up with the lighter. Because when she first comes in, she's like, "Yeah, sorry, I'm late because I just confiscated
Yeah, a lighter
drug."
from yeah.
but it shows her buying it from the student.
Yeah, she buys it off of the student because she's just
Yeah.
like the worst teacher. She's so bad at her job.
Yeah.
So they burn it down, right? But the flame's a little too big for them to control, and they end up burning their clubhouse to ashes.
Yep.
And the episode just like that part of it just ends. And it just goes into the next section. And then the next section, we get introduced to Roselia, who is an elementary schooler, and she comes to the girls' school to challenge Mio because apparently Mio did something to her in the past, and we're not aware of it as viewers. And she calls Momika an old hag. And Momika, like, she takes it and explains it to Mio, and Mio's like, oh, I'm not gonna do it, blah blah blah. And Momika's just like, okay, we're gonna leave it. And she does not leave it. She's like, that bitch called me old. So she decides to challenge her alone, and she
Like
does a
that-
good job, you know.
Like that just shows what kind of personality Sonakawa has.
Absolutely it does. But she goes to challenge the blonde lolly on her own, and she does pretty well. Except the blonde lolly beats her, and like Momika loses her gun, and she's like looking down the barrel of Roselia's gun, and Roselia explains that all the kids that Momika has defeated are beginners. Like this is like their first match, and they don't know what they're doing, but she does.
That's so messed up.
And like Mio shows up, and like they have like a little conversation, and Momoko takes the chance to like get herself gathered, and she's able to win against Rosalia, and instead of it being like a shootout between the two, it ends up being like shoot at this bird.
Yeah, because the bird ended up taking Platy
Yeah, he
away.
ends up kidnapping Platy, and they have to shoot at it to scare it. And Rosalia doesn't take into account like the wind, so her shot misses and does nothing. But Momoko also misses because Mio like sneezed, I think it was.
I think so.
And she misses, but then it becomes like a Rube Goldberg machine where like she hit this thing and then it hit that thing and it scared this animal, and it eventually like it's just after a series of events, a warthog, I think it was, hits the tree that the crow is on, and he drops Platy. And then we learn about Rosalia and her history with Mio. And it was basically a festival, and little Rosalia's there, and she does one of the shooting games, and she's like, "Oh, I shot the bear. Can I have the bear?" And the guy at the stalls like, "No, you have to knock it off the shelf in order to win it." And he's like cheating her. So Mio comes, and she's like, "Oh, that's unfair. Well, if you gotta knock it off, here's what I do." And she takes the gun and she shoots like the peg keeping his shelf up, and all the prizes fall. So she wins everything, and Rosalia's like, "Oh, thank you so much." She's like, "Huh? Thank you for what?" And she just walks away with everything. And that's why Rosalia has a grudge against her.
Cause she thought she was winning the bear for her, but she wasn't.
It was so good. I loved it so much. And I love when Platy's kidnapped. By the way, I don't think we've explained Platy, and the show never does either. He's just a platypus that's there. He's the mascot of the show. He's just there.
I think
that's the most I can say.
I'm trying to remember. There's one episode. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I don't know if it was episode 4 or maybe it was mine. Where oh, actually, yeah, it is mine. I'll explain it when it's my turn.
Okay. And like I love that he's just like straight up kidnapped by the bird, and they look at the bird, and it's like, "Oh, that's a crow that's been through stuff," and it shows like different animals attacking it, and then it was in a fucking war. Like crow was in a war, like flying alongside tanks. What? It doesn't make any sense. It made no sense at all, and I loved every second of it. It was so stupid.
Like I said, this is the episode that really got me. Because like I said, the first 2 episodes, I'm like, it's alright. But it's the third one, I was like, okay, yeah, I like it.
And then with the section of the wasps, the teacher keeps saying like, "Oh, we're gonna get honey, and all the girls are like, "They're not honeybees, they're wasps." And they keep it up, they keep going. And then there's like one point that the wasps start chasing her, and they're like, "Oh, maybe because they know it's the natural enemy of their honey is the bear." And the narrator's like, "But didn't you say that they're not honeybees?"
Yeah.
Like the narrator gets fed up with the girls. Oh man, it was so good. I love those 2 episodes so much. It's just,
and then
just Mio leaving with all the prizes.
I know, I think that too like won me over. I was like, okay, Mio.
So how was episode 4?
So then episode 4, it starts off with the girls. I think it was just only Urara, Sonakawa, and oh my gosh, what's her name? Kayo. And they're at a crane game. And so they're trying, and so Sonakawa's trying to get a teddy bear, but she keeps missing. And then speaking of Platy, she ends up getting the bear to go in the hole, and then the bear jumps back out, and she's just like, "What the fuck? What? How did that happen?" And Platy like heads just popped out, and he pushed it back in.
Yep.
And so she ends up not getting the prize, and so then they're walking away, and then they see a guy with playing a shooting game, and he's like bragging about like how he's the best and everything like that. And so Sonokawa's like, you know what, I'll challenge you. And so she steps up, and then as she steps up, the people like all of them are all guys. I paused and I was like, are they only just guys?
Yeah.
Literally a whole bunch of guys surround them, and they call him the Lime Chicken King. They call him the Lime Chicken King, and they're like, you know, he's the best. He's like number one. He's the king. He's the Lime Chicken King. And so then, you know, they make a wager, and so Sonokawa is like, okay, if I win, you have to apologize and grovel at my feet. And then he's like, okay, and then they're like, if he wins, she has to go into, you know, those booths where you take like pictures,
Yeah.
like they're like stickers,
Like the quick
that she
hits,
has to go, that she has to go and do pictures with him. And so she's like, hell no, like I ain't gonna do that. Like I'm not gonna,
Absolutely not.
like I am not gonna do that. So then they start playing, and he's leading, and then she starts catching up, and then he's like, I'm not gonna lose. And so he ends up putting a quarter in the other section, because it's like each one had 2 guns. So he ends up putting a quarter, and so he's using 2 guns. And so then so Urara was like, get another gun, and Sonokawa was like, I can't. I wasted all my money on the crane game. And so then they're shooting, and he's winning, and she's like, I don't know what to do. And then she's like, wait a minute, I'll use my secret technique. And then everybody's like, the secret technique. And so then she like does this motion, she turns, faces the guy, and like hits him on the head and knocks him out. And just knocks him out.
And it has like
Cold.
the echoed animation, like
Yeah. Like slow motion.
Yeah. The same thing
And so
when
then
he
he,
picks
like-
up the 2 guns. They're like, fried chicken lemons using 2 guns at once.
Yeah.
He's dual wielding, and it's like all epic and everything.
And so he passes out, and then finally he comes to, and he's like, what happened? And so everybody's looking in shock, and of course Sonokawa ends up winning because she cheated. And so, and like I said, you know, this is what I like, because it shows what kind of person she is. You know, she does not play by the rules.
Absolutely not.
She does, like, if she wants it her way, she will like connive and cheat and do whatever she can just to have it her way. And like, you know, you never expect this out of a main lead.
No, absolutely not. It
Because like,
subvert every expectation I have for her.
yeah, like when you think, you know, come on, if you think male lead, like not even male, like main character in general, you know, with the male leads, you know, they're always like the mopey, like
Yeah.
emo, like
They
I'm
always
solo.
fit into like a specific category of like heroic or something like that, or like they have one trait that's like their best trait, and that's the only one that's like really focused on.
Then, you know, with the females too, females are like, oh, they're, you know, soft and, you know, damsels and stuff like that.
Meanwhile, with her, we get every single thing wrong with her.
Yeah.
Here's how she's not a good person.
Like, yeah, you would, like, I was not expecting, you know, that going in, and which it was nice. It's nice to have something different.
Oh, absolutely.
And so then that's the first part, and then the second part was when, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember what was the second part. Was when she ends up liking a bread, and she ends up gaining all this weight. And this is and this is when I trip out. Like, it was like only a week, and like she gains all this weight, and so she's like, oh, I want to lose weight and stuff, and so she ends up trying a banana diet. Which, by the way, is a banana diet real? Because I don't know if that's an actual real thing. Like, I'm actually
no idea. I know, like, I don't know if they still do, but like people who play like sports, like football or stuff, to bulk up, they'll eat like bananas and drink milk, and that like helps you bulk up. But I don't know if that's like just to bulk up, or if there's a specific diet based around something like that.
But yeah, but she goes on a banana diet, and that's clearly not working for her. And so she's like sulking, like I can't do it. I'm not losing nothing. And so Urara's like, oh, I'll help you lose weight by making you like a nutritious meal. And so Urara makes her like a low-fat curry. And so then she takes a bite, and then right away she wants to puke. And oh, so like their clubhouse, it's like basically like a single floor, and then there's like some stairs and like a fireman's pole, and it goes like down into like a basement, and the basement's like
makes no sense.
yeah, like it's the basement, and the basement's where they do like their shooting. It's like a what is it called? Like I guess like a shooting range or something like that. And so she goes downstairs and she goes to the bathroom and she's throwing up, and she's like, I can't eat this. But she's like, but wait a minute. Oh no, she's like, I can't eat this. I threw up yesterday's food too. And she's like, wait a minute. This is how I'm gonna lose weight. Is by eating her food and throwing
She just
up.
embraces bulimia.
Yeah, she. By the way, which isn't healthy, you guys. Don't do that.
Don't do that. It's fine for the anime character to do it. She was better in what, like a couple days?
Yeah, even the narrator says don't try this at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't do this, kids.
And so then so she ends up losing all the weight, and then her mom's like, let's celebrate. And so she makes her all these fatty foods, and so she eats it that same night, and then she gains all that weight back. And then her mom starts crying. She's like, I'm sorry, I just like you fat.
I like my chubby mokarin.
Yeah. and so she ends up going back to the club sulking that she gained all this weight back, and then Meal's like, oh, we can just do drills. And so they end up doing drills, and she loses the weight.
Yeah. She's like,
and then,
this is just what we always do.
Yeah. And so then that was the second part. And then the third part, this is what I was talking about. This is about Platy. So she wakes up and she goes downstairs and she sees Platy. And then she's like, wait, what is he doing here? And the mom's like, what are you talking about? He's been here this whole time. And then it has flashbacks of like each episode of Platy.
Where he's just there.
Where he's just there in their house. And the mom's like, oh, you never pay attention. And so she gets curious, and she's like, well, I'm going to follow him and see, what is he? Because she doesn't want to eat, no. I don't know if this is my episode where she doesn't want to eat broccoli.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she doesn't want to eat broccoli, and she tries to feed it to him, and he won't eat it, and so that gets her mad. And so she, like, wants to get rid of him, like, out of her house. And so she finds out that he's a platypus, or they're not sure if he is a platypus. And so she tells Mia, like, hey, he's your pet, take him. She's like, he's not my pet. And then so she's like, what is he? And she's like, I don't know, Platy is Platy.
Best description.
and so that's when she starts following him. Like, I think he's a platypus. They're a rare race, and they only belong in Australia. If I find out that he's a platypus, I'm just gonna call and have him basically deported back to Australia. And so she's just like following him, and you find out Platy is just like a normal day, like regular person.
Yeah, he just does normal things that we would do.
Yeah. And so then, she goes back home. She's upset because she can't figure out if he really is a platypus. And then her and her mom start going in a gun battle because she won't eat her broccoli. And so her mom and her are going around the house fighting. And it's funny because, like, the mom ends up shooting, like, the power.
Yeah,
and the whole house. Yeah. And the house goes black, and it zooms outside, so we're like in front of the house, and we see the house go black, and you just see like a drunk guy walking in the front yard, and you just see like gunshots like going, like ringing on the windows. Yeah. And he just stands there, and he's just like watching, tripping out, which I thought was funny. And so then finally the mom ends up shooting her, and she takes her back to the kitchen, and she's like, you gotta eat your broccoli. And so she's gonna eat her broccoli, but finds out Platy ends up eating the broccoli for her, and like he says something in his language, and the narrator's like, "Oh, in Platy's language, it means just this once."
Yeah, just this one time I got your
Just
back.
yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, Platy," and then that's it. That's the end of it.
Dude, in part 1, where she had the gun battle with Fried Chicken Lemon, I love that she hated the idea of taking a picture with him so bad that she actually like goes into hyper focus mode, and she sees Mia as like a Star Wars Force ghost who gives her advice on how to win, and then she just turns and just fucking decks him with the gun. It was so good.
And then and it's funny too because she ends up taking the pictures anyways.
Yeah. And then like
And then
in the part with her not wanting the broccoli and finding out that Platy lives for her the whole time, like they do the flashbacks of every episode, and you see like him just there all the time, and then like in the episode where she was fat, he's buff because he was doing the workouts for her. He's just
No,
there
he
the
did.
whole time.
Because he did the banana diet.
Yeah, and then like you said, they start stalking him throughout the town, and apparently he's Michael Jackson reincarnated.
I know, yeah.
he's just there with like the suit on. He's just
Oh my
doing
god,
the
let's see if I...
moonwalk.
Is there a picture of that?
Oh man, I don't have one. It was so good though. And then yeah, the mom just pulls out a scoped like 6-shot revolver and just starts blasting. She just starts, just like no warnings, just bam, bam, run away.
Yeah.
Like what? The mom, I feel like if she was more of a focus early on, she would be my favorite character. Like 100%.
She has a personality, I like that.
Oh yeah, she's so good. she's not just a throwaway character. Like you remember her when she shows up.
Yeah.
I love that they did that. Because usually it's like, oh, it's a parent in an anime. They're gonna die or they're just not gonna be seen. No, like she's almost a main character.
Yeah. She's there a lot.
And that was what, episode 4, right?
Yeah, that was episode 4.
So then episode 5, we get like this cold open where Mio's like, I'm shutting down the club. I have found religion. Like I am pure of heart now. And they're like, is this a joke? And Momoko starts burning. So like, oh no, this is real because Momoko is feeling the effects of her pureness. So they're trying to figure out why. And it does like this flashback thing. And apparently they went to like a Buddhist monk temple to train their mental strength because it helps in their survival games. And like they're there and they're supposed to like empty their mind, quote unquote. And like every little movement, the monk comes up and just fucking bashes them with a stick. And like basically everyone gets eliminated little by little. And Mia's the last one. And she's just doing so well that even the monk is just like, whoa, I can't believe this. She has to be the person to take over. She's the successor. And she's like, no, I don't want to do it. I want to go live my life, have fun, do my survival games. And he goes, oh man, you found a picture of him as Michael Jackson. Michael! So the monk leans in and he's like, hey, every day at the temple you can pretend to be smart. And she's like, I'm in.
Yeah.
And like that's when we get to like present day where she's deciding, I'm disbanding the club and blah blah blah. So they turn on TV and there's like breaking news, and it's the monk being arrested for pretending to be a monk and getting people to like pay him money. And he's like, oh, you'll be the next successor. He was just a con man the whole time.
Yeah, he was just a con artist this whole time.
And then there was a part 2 to this episode, and let's say an unfortunate event, which I'll go into later, leaves Urara trapped on a window ledge outside of the school. So they're like she's trying to figure out a way down. She sees the girls like coming through the like pathway, and she's like 2-3 stories up.
Yeah.
And she's trying to like signal them and everything. And after like a couple failed attempts of them trying to figure it out, they're like, oh, she needs help. And Mio, being rich, decides to call in a fleet of helicopters to
Oh,
come
by the
save
way,
her.
she's super rich.
Yeah,
like
she's
Mio is
super rich.
rich. Yeah.
So she calls in a fleet, not a helicopter, a fleet of helicopters to save her. But Urara is so ashamed of anyone finding out about what she did that she
Bathroom.
shoots at the helicopters, and like one of them crash lands because of it. Like the rest scatter, and then one of them just crashes. And at one point they decide, oh, let's take like a sheet and like hold it tight. That way she can just jump and fall on it.
Mhm.
But Momika is so used to like hitting her away whenever she like runs at her that she dodged and held it at an angle, so Urara just bounced off and went right back up to the ledge. So
But it was funny when I first saw it, I could have sworn that she went higher.
she probably did. Honestly, she probably did. But then the girls are like, "Oh, let's just go up. Like, isn't that the ledge to the the third floor girls' bathroom? And we can just go up and grab her, and she'll be fine." And she's like, "No, I can't let them see what's in the bathroom." So like she just becomes stone faced and just like points her hands and her feet and just pushes them into the stone wall and crawls down. Like
Yeah.
just using sheer strength and force of will.
And it's just funny
She's
because
like, "No,
you just hear
they
boom,
can't."
boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom.
that's it. You just hear that. You just hear like the stone cracking. And
Yeah.
then she gets down and like she sees the two girls that were in the bathroom with her, and that's the reason she couldn't come out through the normal way. And they're like, "Oh, we checked your stall. It must have been hard with a broken handle." And to anyone who hasn't figured it out yet, the reason she was there was because she took a poo poo and she broke the handle. She used too much strength and broke the handle of her toilet and couldn't flush it, and was scared of anyone finding out.
Yeah,
So
she was
that's why she was
ashamed.
on the ledge.
And
And
it was funny. And it was funny too because like when she was in the stall, the two girls that were also in the bathroom heard her like distress, and so
Yes.
they were trying to help her
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
And she just wanted them to leave, like, and so she just stayed quiet instead of saying anything. She just stayed quiet,
Yeah.
and so they got concerned. They're like, she probably fainted, and so they're trying to break in. And so she's like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are so kind, but not right now." And so that's why she ends up jumping out of the window.
Yeah. And I wanted to point out, she never washed her hands.
She didn't.
So that was part 2. But then this episode also has a third part. And it just has like a cold open where the girls are like searching and we don't know for what. We find out that Mio has misplaced an antique gun from her family. Again, rich family. And Momoko is just like, "Oh, why do I have to help look for this? You lost it. You should look for it yourself." And then Mio's like, "Oh, yeah, I guess it can only be sold for 1,000,000 yen." And and then suddenly Momoko's like, "I have to find this."
Yeah.
And like she does find it, and she finds it like just as the other girls leave. So she finds it. She's like, "Oh, now I can do this. Oh, but what if they find out?" And she has, and I mean this in the most literal way possible, a battle of conscience. The most literal battle of conscience ever.
Yep.
Where
With the demon and angel.
yeah, like it's usual you have the demon on my shoulder, the angel on my other shoulder, but this was like fully grown angel demon, like full size.
Like her size.
Yeah, and they took out guns and had a battle in the sky, and at one point her angel side says something in English, and she's like, "My conscience is speaking English."
English. Yeah.
And who won the battle between the angel and the demon?
The angel won.
The angel won, and I was like,
Cause,
"Oh
yeah,
yeah,
because they're
now you
they're
can
they're
do
in the
right
sky.
thing."
Yeah, they're in the sky, and then she's like, "I have heaven on my side,"
Yeah.
and like it turns bright, and so then the demon like covers her eyes, and she ends up shooting the demon.
And so she shoots the demon. She comes down. She's like, "Oh, okay, now you can do the right thing," basically. And then you just see like a bullet go through her head, and Momoka's just like, "I'm gonna get my $1,000,000." So Momoka transcends both good and evil. She's just Momoka.
Yeah.
And then she what? Like she falls and cracks her head on something or something like that.
Yeah. And then she like wakes up in the bathroom for some reason.
Yeah. And
And
she
then she's
has
like,
like
how-
this whole like midlife crisis in a dream.
Yeah.
It's
Uh.
so good, man. It's so good.
Like I
That-
said, this was actually a surprise.
Yeah, that's the required 5 episodes. Did you watch anything beyond?
No, I didn't. I tried to, but I wasn't able to.
I mean, I've already seen the entire show. I just haven't seen the OVAs. But
But I
just-
will. But I will continue it.
I was
I will
gonna ask-
continue
I
it
was
for
gonna ask
sure.
you that.
Yeah. No, I will. I am gonna continue it.
I did end up watching episode 6, and just as the show goes on, it just becomes more and more nonsensical.
Mhm.
Like it just gets worse and worse. So I decided to have just a little snippet of like, here's what we're missing if you don't continue. So this is I hope this is a big enough image. Yeah, this is a screenshot from the final episode.
The final episode. Ooh. What the heck?
There's no context. I'm not including any context.
Wait, is the crab getting the gun, and then there's Plotty?
Yep, and Platy's he's behind a table and he's shooting, and there's 3 like discarded guns behind him, and then this old man just has a box full of guns.
Yeah.
And then
What's
since the last video didn't upload, I doubt this one will. Let me see. Oh, it will. Okay, so you can just watch it here. This is also from the final episode, and it's a little bit more from the mom.
モカリンのために本気出しちゃう
Oh my god.
Like, who is this housewife? And she's like, I'll do anything for my for my mokarin, and just like blast the 2 like security guards in the head, and then flies away.
Oh my god. That smile on her face though.
It's so good, man. I love this so much. It's definitely one that you have to stick around a little bit to like really get into. But once you're in, you're in. That's it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I said earlier, I thought I wasn't gonna like it. Like I honestly thought I wasn't. And then I guess episode 3 was the one that's like no, I like it.
that was your breaking point.
Yeah,
they say.
episode 3.
I always do my best for my mokarin. Blah blah. Then she just flies. She's just gone. Oh man, it's so good.
So then what rating would you give this?
Oh man, how do you even want to rate it? Like on a scale of what to what?
How about 5
Out of 5?
out of 5?
Out of 5 for like actual engaging storyline, it'd get like a 1 because it's just nonsensical. It's just for fun. But for a show that I enjoyed sitting down and watching, it's definitely like a 4, maybe a 5.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just
Like-
time flies while I'm watching it. It's just so fun.
Yeah, because there's really no plot. There's no plot.
Absolutely not.
There's no plot whatsoever. Like it's just like I said, daily lives of high school boys, but it's girls with guns.
Yep, exactly.
Like
That's all it
each day is totally different. Each day they're dealing with their own issues, and I like it because it's different. Like you know, daily lives of high school boys is just high school boys, or this is girls like with their imaginations.
Yeah.
So with this, so I can't really I can't give it a rating for a plot because there's no plot, but just overall like enjoyment, I'll give it a 4.5.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I liked it. Like I said, surprisingly, I liked it. I like the main character. She's definitely not like a Mary. Yeah, I know. She's not like those Mary Sue characters, and I like that. You know, I mean, there's some shows like, yeah, like I can get on board with some Mary Sue's, like, because that's how it is.
Yeah, it's like it's
But
the only
this
choice I
one,
have.
but this one, I liked it. Like, I like her personality. I like that it's different.
I definitely do. Yeah, she's not perfect in any way, shape, or
No,
form.
she's far from
She's the
perfect.
antithesis of a main character, and she's the
Yeah,
perfect main character.
yeah. And then, like I said, Urara. Oh my god, I love Urara so
Oh
much.
yeah.
I thought I was gonna hate her. Like I thought she was gonna be those annoying, you know, side characters that's like attached to that one character and it's just like rude for no reason,
Yeah,
just
at
because
all
like
times.
yeah, but no. Then she ends up doing like a completely 180 and it's like all over Sonakawa.
Really early too. Like usually when that does happen, where they do the 180, it's like in the middle of a season or something. No, this was episode
Uh-huh.
2.
Yeah, episode 2, like quick change, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's like, oh, Momoko-sama.
So
Just
she's more up on Sonakawa more than she is on Mio now.
yeah, exactly. Even though she still does love Mio,
She does. She still
we
loves
can't
Mio.
exclude that. But it seems that she loves Momoko more just because Momoko will abuse her.
And that's what she likes.
Yeah, she's a total
And
masochist.
it's funny because too in the arcade episode, um, Sonakawa does something to Urara. I'm trying to remember. I think she hits her or something, and then she gets off by it, like in front of the guy, and the guy's like, "Thank you
Yeah,
for
he's
letting me
like, thank
see
you for letting me see that. Is this Yuri?
this." Yeah.
Like he has that moment. Is this Yuri?
And then he bows. He bows
Yeah,
to
he
them. He's like,
bows.
"Thank
He's like,
you."
thank you for letting me see this. It was so
I
good,
love.
man. I love the show so much. It's
Me
just
too.
mindless fun. I'm glad that you enjoyed it though, because I like the whole time I was like, oh man, I hope Celeste likes this. I hope it's because I have that a lot where it's like I'm into like the senseless, funny, haha type of show, and
Uh
then
huh.
like I'll have a friend and I'll be like, oh, check it out, and I'll explain exactly what kind of show it is. And like,
Uh
oh,
huh.
I don't like shows like that. Blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, come
No,
on,
I
man,
like it.
you
You
gotta
know,
like
like
it for what it is.
no, it's nice. You know, like yeah, I do enjoy shows that have plot lines, but
Yeah,
it's like I also enjoy ones that don't.
yeah,
Or it's like I don't have to like because when there's plot lines, you have to pay attention.
exactly.
Like if you miss something, you miss something. And it's like later on in the episode they mention it's like wait what? What did I
Yeah,
miss?
yeah.
And then you have to go back.
Nobody got time to pay attention to things. I'm dumb.
Yeah. And where this one, it's like, oh, okay, if I miss something on here, it doesn't matter because it's not going to show up again.
Absolutely not.
And in fact, in one of the episodes, something happens to them, and it's like the next episode, of the narrator is like, well, they already forgot because it's the start of a new episode.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Every episode has that kind of thing where it's like, oh, they forgot about what happened. Every
yeah,
episode has the remember this is in their imaginations. I know I tell you this all the time, but I have to alert you. This is in their imagination. And
and then he was
every
like,
episode has in the intro, you think we're gonna play survival games? You're wrong. And then she gets choked out or whatever.
yeah. And it's funny too because the narrator even's like, you're probably getting sick and tired of me, but I just got to remind you.
So all in all, we basically watched half of the season.
How many episodes were there? I didn't
There's
pay
12
attention.
episodes, and we watched 5.
Yeah.
So we basically watched half. So it'd be a no-brainer to continue watching it and just finish it off.
Hmm.
Me myself, I'm gonna finish watching it, and I'm gonna try to find the OVAs because we watched it on Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll just doesn't do OVAs, huh?
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
I wonder if it's like a separate contract to have the OVAs done.
I know some of the anime that's on there they do have some OVAs, but I noticed not all of them has it.
It's like every anime I've ever watched, whether it be on Crunchyroll or some other legal streaming service,
Hmm.
they almost never have the OVAs of the shows that I watch. Like I'm sure there's OVAs on there, just not of the shows I've watched.
Uh-huh.
And I always wondered, like, I wonder if it's like a contractual thing, like they only have the rights to the actual show, and then anything beyond that is not within the realm of possibility unless they pay for it as a
So
separate
like
thing. But then
so
some
like always
shows they build off of OVAs and they treat them like
yeah.
movies or like its own mini series type of thing, And like
Mhm.
you'll have like season 1 and then like 2 OVAs and then season 2 and they'll reference things from the OVA and I'm like, what are you talking about?
Uh-huh.
And I hate that. I hate that so much. I wish they could just have everything there.
And I think too that's why I have so much streaming service. Like, come on, like, because I noticed too, Funimation. Like, I have Funimation. I noticed Funimation has some, and then Crunchyroll won't.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? So does Funimation have the license to them, and then Crunchyroll doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. And then like, didn't they get partnered at one point?
I don't know.
I,
I because I know there was this site, this streaming site that came up, and it kind of like bundled them together.
yeah, VRV.
Yeah,
And I don't even
but
know if that's still a thing.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I haven't heard anything about
But
that. Like,
it was after VRV actually, and they had like this whole announcement thing of like, oh, Japanese things are going to be on Crunchyroll, and then all the English dub stuff is going to be on Funimation, and like you can pick and choose. And it was supposed to be like the whole like sub versus dub thing, and like you can
I
choose
didn't
your
hear
streaming
about
service.
that.
Yeah, it was like choose your streaming service based on sub versus dub, and like they were sharing rights to stuff. And I think
See,
that became like its own little legal issue zone, where it's like, hey, Crunchyroll has the rights to this. You can't just give it to Funimation.
uh,
I'm that's what I'm assuming happened. I don't know, but I know I heard about this happening, um, and then it was just gone, and I never heard anything about it again. And I heard
yeah,
it from
because
a credible source.
no, and it's funny too because I remember like Crunchyroll never had like other languages,
Yeah, it was just
just
Japanese.
Japanese. But I'm noticing now that they've been having like English dub, like Spanish,
Yeah.
German.
The worst part about that is like I'll watch it
They
on
put
like the PlayStation app, and it'll be
uh
like, oh, here's the show that you like that you haven't watched in 2 years, and I'll click it, and it's like 3 seasons. I'm like, what? I didn't know they made 2 more seasons, but then it's just season 1, but in different languages. Like, why
yeah,
did you list it as a new season? It's just
season
it's just
one,
another language.
season one Japanese, season two in English, season three in German.
Yeah, but it's all season 1, and I'm like, what the hell,
Yeah,
guys? Like, just you don't have a language tab? Like,
yeah.
did you
Nope,
really
it's
have to
just
do
season.
this? And like it'll even show like sequential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 12, and then the
Mhm.
next episode is just episode 1 again, English or German or Spanish. I'm like, guys, really? Is it that hard?
Apparently, it is.
So I'm gonna finish it again, and honestly, I only remember like 2 episodes out of what we've seen. I only remember 2, and that's the
Hmm.
last episode, which I don't want to spoil at all. I want
Ugh.
that to be a complete surprise for you because it's amazing. But then there's also an episode where they go out of the school on like their own little personal field trip
Hmm.
to help the elderly, if I'm remembering correctly. And they have a survival game with the elderly.
Oh my god.
And it's like I remember like an old man driving a truck and an old lady on the back with like a Gatling gun just shooting at them. She's like, "Ah, you youngsters will never understand." It's like, what?
The fuck?
It's so good,
I gotta finish it definitely for sure.
man.
I swear, like if it wasn't for the 5 episode rule, I would have dropped it. I would have dropped it
Thank
at
God for the
episode.
5 episode rule.
But is it five? So is it 5 episodes or is it 3 episodes?
Uh,
Like,
I've heard 3, I've heard 5, I've heard 12. 12 doesn't make sense to me because sometimes that's the whole season.
uh huh. Oh,
I, I
maybe they're
usually I usually go with just 5.
maybe they mean 12 just to trick them to watching the whole thing.
Just trick you into watching an entire season. Hey, what'd
Yeah.
you think of it? I don't know. I don't know if I'll continue it. Well, there's nothing to continue. It's done.
Thank you for watching. Now let's talk about
Thank
it.
you for your patronage. Let's make a podcast about it. Oh man. So I had you choose this week's no, I chose this week's show for you and I had you watch it.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what you want me to watch next week?
I've been debating. I've really been debating because there's so many shows. Because at first I did say I wanted to do Amagi Brilliant Park,
Uh-huh.
but then at the same time it's like I wanted to. You said you watched it, right?
Yeah, I've seen that.
So that's why I was like, maybe I should give you something different.
Mhm.
And so I think I finally, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I found one. I just gotta remember what it, because it's a freaking long name.
Oh boy.
It's a long name, and I like it. The plot, like, I think you would enjoy it because it's one of those, like, there's a plot in there, but at the same time it's just them, like, it's comedy, you know.
Okay, so it's comedy with a plot.
It's comedy with a plot, and it's fantasy based.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember what it's called. Hold on,
There's a couple of those.
because I remember the name of, okay, it's called Cautious Hero. That's the English.
Oh,
Did
Cautious
you watch
Hero.
it? Did you watch
I
it?
started reading it, and
Oh,
then I saw that there was an announcement for an anime, and I was like, oh, maybe I should hold off a little bit. So I read the first like chapter or two.
yeah, Cautious Hero is a gem. I love it. It's funny.
So that's basically like he summoned. It's the
He
generic
is,
like summoned into another world, and you're
yeah.
granted these
It's
powers.
a it's one of those generics. Iseki.
Yeah,
How do you pronounce it? Iseki.
isekai.
It's isekai. It's one of those isekai where he's being summoned into another world,
Yeah, but
and
he's overly cautious, so he like,
he's
and
he's overly cautious, and he's like overly powerful, but he's cautious.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, he summoned, and then he like just spends so long just training in like the summoned area because he's not
Yeah,
ready. He's
he
too
trains
cautious.
he I think he kicks her out of her own house. He kicks her out of her own house. Yep.
Yeah, here's the main characters. The guy in the
Yeah, these are the
black is
main
the main
characters.
character.
And she's the one that summons him.
Yeah, and then the nun is just fucking dead apparently.
The nun's just there.
I've
She's not important.
This is great because I've been meaning to watch it. So this finally gives me an excuse. Now I have a deadline. I have to watch at least 5 episodes by next week,
Yep.
at the very least. And have you watched like an entire season of it, or like
I seen all of it.
how much is there?
I think there's 12 if I remember correctly.
Okay, so just a season.
Yeah, there's just one season.
No problem.
I wish there was more. This is one of the anime that I want a second season so bad.
Well, it's relatively new, so maybe they're planning on it, and everything happened in the world, and
Well, I don't know how, especially how it ended. I mean, well, too, how it ended too. Maybe that kind of like bridges for another season.
oh, it's like an open-ended ending.
Yeah, it is an open-ended ending,
Okay.
and I think too, I think they left it that way so people can like figure, like, think of it, how they want it to end.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I like it a lot.
For,
Like every time I get so like I get like emotional when I hear the opening of the song. I'm like, yes.
oh, that's another thing we didn't talk about, the opening and closing of the show.
Okay, so I personally did not like the opening,
Uh-huh.
but I loved the ending.
Yeah.
I
I'm in the same
love
boat as you.
I love the ending.
The
So
opening
I
is
wouldn't
just
I,
too, it's like it doesn't fit the characters.
it doesn't.
It's like
And like
too upbeat.
cuz I like I have the thing where I would watch the opening at least once.
Uh-huh.
And if I don't like it, I'll constantly skip it, but if I like the opening, I would always watch the opening. But with the ending, I would always listen to the ending. Like I'll let the ending play. I love the ending so much.
The ending's really good. So next week is Cautious Hero.
Yes.
Okay. It's Cautious Hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious.
Yep.
That's the full title.
That's the full
In case
title.
anyone that's watching wants to watch along with us and come back next week and maybe join in on the discussion.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, it'd be dope. I'm okay with taking things in from comments.
Me too.
So that's set for next week. Now I have to watch that, come up with questions and all this, and do our usual format. And I also have to think of something good for you. and that's gonna be a
What-
challenge
Why?
because I know that there's plenty of stuff. Because I mean, I've known you for years, Celeste.
I know.
I know there's plenty of stuff that you will be into. I want to introduce you to something new that I think you would like.
Uh-huh.
And
And the thing with me too, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of anime.
yeah, I know that. But well, that's the great thing with this is that it doesn't have to be anime. Like right now, we're talking about anime. Next week, we'll talk about anime. But it's just animation in general. I can show
Yeah.
you a cartoon. I can show you anime. I can show you a VTuber, like any of that stuff,
Uh-huh.
and it'll count. It's in our range. I
That's
just
why
have
it's
to find something that I
animation
think you'll
revelation.
like. Yes. I just have to find something that I think you'll like, and there's plenty, and it's just gonna be like, okay, I have to narrow down one thing that I think you'll like.
I know, because it's hard. It really is. Because like, I'm like, okay, maybe I want to show Lizer, Amagi, but I'm like, he already watched Amagi. Then I'm like, maybe how about this one? And I'm like, I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, if we start to run out of ideas or just want more time to think of something new, we can always just hey, you've already watched the manga? Hey, me too. Let's refresh ourselves and talk about it.
Yeah.
That's all. It's not hard.
It's like, I'm actually super excited to go back on this because I really really enjoy this series so much. I'm more of a comedy person. Like I love comedy.
Me too. Like, believe me, I love the like really in depth story that like tears at your heartstrings. I love that kind of stuff, but you can only
Uh
have so much of that. like, oh man, I need a breather every once in a while. Give me something like this, and I'm happy.
uh. Oh my
World
gosh,
the world is too serious.
I'm on I went on the wiki page for him,
uh,
and then like they have his stats like at level 1, level 15, level 37, level 99.
just the whole breakdown.
Yeah.
When you were describing it, I was like, wait, comedy, isekai, fantasy. I was like, is she talking about Konosuba? I was like, I've definitely seen
'Cause
Konosuba.
I need to finish that one. I've seen I think up to like 9, no, because of what Konosuba first season I think has like what 10 or 11 episodes.
Yeah, probably around there.
Yeah, because I know it does. I know it doesn't go 12. It's either 10 or 11, and I think I stopped like around maybe episode 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a good one too. I enjoy that one.
Yeah, there's what 2 seasons in a movie, and then like a couple of OVAs.
Yep,
That's a good one.
I know there's 2 seasons for sure.
Yeah, and I know there's a movie. I just don't know how many OVAs.
I'm looking. I'm looking.
That one, I remember I was working at a store. I was just like a cashier at the time, and my boss was super into anime. That's actually how I got hired. I had my interview, and he was like, "Oh, do you speak any languages?" And he was like, "I speak this, this, and this." And one of the languages he said he spoke was like entry level Japanese. And I was like, "Can I stop you real quick and ask, is that just so you could watch anime better?" And he just goes, "Yes." As a matter of fact, it is. And like we just started talking about anime during this job interview when he hired me.
He's like, I'll like you around.
Yeah.
I can nerd out with you.
Yeah, exactly. We would like close down shop, and then like we would spend an additional like 45 minutes to an hour on the clock just talking about anime. Dude, it was like the best job I ever had. He got me into Konosuba. And
Did he?
yeah, Konosuba and what was that other one? Is it right to pick up girls in a dungeon?
I've been wanting to like. Is that one really good?
That one I haven't seen the second season. So here's the thing with that one. It came out years ago. It's old. And that first season was actually pretty decent. It's not very comedic. It has like funny moments here and there. But it's kind of like middle of the road. But for some reason I really liked it, and I couldn't pinpoint why. I think it just has good characterization maybe. But now that they've come out with the second season like 10 years later or whatever it is, I want to get back into it. So maybe that's one of the things we can watch. Although I'd like, since we're gonna watch this next week, I'd like to have like a little bit of a gap between like another like fantasy-esque type thing.
Yeah.
Just not back to back.
uh, something different.
Yeah. But you know, one day we can watch that one. And we can see the big boobied lolly goddess Hestia that everyone
Oh,
knows even though they don't know her.
I don't know. Like, show me a picture, maybe.
As
Wait,
soon as
is she the one with the black hair
and the white dress.
and the white dress? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, then yeah, I know.
Yep. Literally, if you watch anime, you've probably seen a picture of her somewhere. Whether it's like that gif of like her brushing her teeth and she's like dancing, or like just something. You've definitely seen her in the
The
past
only
couple years.
the only scene I know with the toothbrush is Monogatari series. That's the only when you say brush your teeth. That's what it's about. We won't go there.
Well, anyway, it was nice. Dude, should we do the Monogatari series on here?
Oh my god,
Will
no.
I get
Like,
banned?
probably. The funny thing too is, like I'm probably gonna get shit for it, but I really like the Monogatari series. It
Oh no,
just
it's really good.
kind of it goes on territory that a lot of people won't go
Yeah,
on.
like it gets like a little uncomfortable at times with some things, but all in all, it's really good.
I
And
remember when that scene came, like when that like the series came out.
uh huh.
I remember I was watching it on my phone. I had it in the kitchen, and it was playing, because I was making myself food, and that scene came out, and I had to run and like turn it off.
But you know, there's one thing that can beat anything else from Monogatari.
What?
Come on, you know what it is.
I don't.
No.
Oh my god, yeah. Have you heard the remix with Snoop Dogg?
Oh, of course I have. Of course I've had.
I love that so much. I still play that randomly. I love it.
So now that I've brought that up, the Senno,
Uh-huh.
Renai circulation, that's pretty much cemented what I'm going to show you week after next.
Oh, what?
You'll find
I have
out
to,
next
I
week.
have to, I have to wait.
You have to wait.
I have to
You
wait.
have to wait. But now
I don't want
I
to
am
wait.
sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to collect things to send to you to watch specifically.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I'm actually scared.
Good.
She's scared. I don't know.
No, I think you'll like it a lot. It's something that I've been gushing over in my personal life for like 2 months now,
Hmm.
and it's just been a stream of content that I've been watching. I think you'll like it a lot.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. But for now,
I'm
we
nervous,
we
but
gotta
I'll take.
focus on the cautious hero. So that'll be our thing next week. Cautious hero.
Yep. Which is a good one. I'm excited. Like I said, touch back on it.
But
I
that's
love
it.
it. It's.
That's it for now.
Mhm.
We're done for the day. We're done for the episode. Anything you want to say before the end?
Definitely watch this. Watch. I can't pronounce the name. What? I know it's survival
Oh,
game,
Sabagebu.
but what's Sabu Gabu?
Yeah. It's
Sabu
just basically
Gabu.
Survival Games Club shortened. Sabagebu.
Sabu Gabu. Definitely watch it, you guys. Definitely. I had my mixed feelings at first. I thought I wasn't gonna like it. It started off weird for me, but then as I continued on, I really enjoyed it. I actually enjoy the characters a lot. Sonokawa is my girl. Urara's my girl, even though like the weirdest ones. But definitely watch it. It is a recommendation, and I'm glad you recommended this one.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. And yeah, those three basically, like Momika, Urara, and Mio, are like the main cast. Everyone else is basically a side character.
Hmm.
Even the other girls in the club, like they have their moments where they're like the focus of an episode or two. But those three are the main characters.
Yeah, and even one of the girls, she hardly even says anything.
Oh, the one in the
and
ghillie suit.
yeah, she hardly says anything, and she's mainly quiet when she talks. She's like really soft spoken, like
But
it's really soft.
what we know about her though is she's into cosplay. And
Yep.
when she shoots, when they go into battle mode, she's in what I think is supposed to be a Jill Valentine Resident Evil 3 cosplay. Is it Jill?
Hello.
Yeah, I think it's Jill.
It's Jill, yeah, because
Yeah.
it's the shorts with the I think it's like a tunic. I don't know how to pronounce it. With I'm a girl and I don't even know what the shirt's called, but it's that shirt with this it's sleeveless. Doesn't even have spaghetti straps.
Oh, I was just
Oh,
confusing
it does.
Jill
It
and
does.
God, what's the one from the second game?
I don't know.
Claire.
I don't know.
Jill,
Oh,
Jill and Claire.
you think we should talk about video games too?
Hey, why not? They have an
I mean,
animation
since it
scene.
it is animation.
Yeah, we could do that. Do I have to play through an entire video game before in a week?
Play of the week.
I have a job. I don't have time. I've been trying to play Assassin's Creed for like 2 months now.
You can play and I'll just watch you stream it.
That's a good excuse. Hey, I'm streaming so to get ready for the podcast next week.
Yeah.
Please donate. This game costs $60. Oh man.
I would really like my $60 back.
This game sucks. Worst comes to worst, if you wanted to do a game, I'd probably watch like just a playthrough of it, or like sometimes they do the here's all the scenes on YouTube without any commentary. You know?
Yeah.
I'd probably do that. But okay, for the third and final time, I am now going to end this. We've said our final words.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
The podcast is over for the day. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope other people watch, and I hope you
Please come back next week.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey. There's always gonna be more animation revaluation. So enjoy it.
Hey.
Have a good night.
Konnichiwa senpai, please notice me. I watch Asian cartoons. I'm a weeaboo. I live in my mom's house. I'm like 32. I collect swords and throwing stars. Yes, I'm a weeaboo. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but I will always be one step ahead of you. 'Cause I read the manga.
You're such a fucking pleb. Are you even Japanese, bro?
I haven't showered in like 16 weeks. All my friends and peers are ashamed of me. 'Cause all of a sudden, I think I'm Japanese. Yes, I'm a weeaboo. Yes, I'm a weeaboo. Yes, I'm a weeaboo.